In the last episode, we drained a gigantic lava lake with the help of the other Paperhats. We drained this lava lake because it'll be the future site for our nether hub. We were also surprised that it only took about 19 hours, even though there were 6 or 7 of us. Everyone worked so diligently, I wanted to get them a gift afterwards. So we set out into the end, flew about 78,000 blocks, but we also managed to bring back an entire shulker of elytras. With those, we gave everybody who worked on the lava lake one enchanted pair of elytra for their trouble. Welcome to the wonderful world of Everbloom. I'm Dr. Jankovic, and before we get too far into it, I do want to make a special mention. I want to thank you guys for all the support lately. It's been crazy. So many views and so many subscribers. The channel just hasn't popped off like this before. So welcome in all you new folks. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate everyone who's returning. But without further ado, let's talk about what we're going to tackle today. As I said, I want to tackle some quality of life things, and specifically, I want to make rockets. I'm not looking to sell rockets, I'm just looking to make my own rockets to save on diamonds. Now let me give you a little bit of a backstory. So before Season 4 launch, we had a discussion about last season's economy. Everything was just too cheap, everybody had way too many diamonds, and it didn't feel like a real shopping experience. So we had a friendly agreement, and we agreed that we would reasonably price things, and therefore rockets are a little bit more expensive this season. One stack of rockets is 1 diamond each. Now I'm not gonna lie, this was a very difficult decision. I didn't want to have to do this, but with the size of this base, it is absolutely massive. I am using an unpredictable amount of rockets. I can't believe how many rockets I'm going through on a weekly basis. And I'm worried eventually it's going to get to the point where I'm spending a lot of unnecessary time mining, and I'm not going to be able to spend enough time building up this base. So we're going to build a small gunpowder farm and small sugarcane farm to alleviate that. And if we have enough time, we'll slap in a bee farm, because we did tear down our bee farm and we still need a bee farm. So we got to repair that. So let's talk about where we're going to build these farms. Now we do have this giant open space under the tower here, but I am worried a little bit about lag. You see, we have to put interiors and all the buildings up there, and since we're doing a lot of armor stands, a lot of item frames, a lot of chests, things like that, we're going to have a lot of client-side lag. I don't want to make it any worse over here, so my next thought is to create an industrial district elsewhere in the world. So give me just a moment to pull up maps, see where everybody is and what spaces people are using, and we'll get some coordinates. After some quick research on where everything is on the server, I think I found an open spot. If we fly mainly west, a little bit south, we'll come to the Savannah Island here. This island is pretty much in the center of me, Dan, Giraffe Queen, and Superboy, and it's far enough away from everybody that this should not be loaded all the time. So in case lag is an issue with the farms I build, they won't be loaded unless I'm intentionally AFKing them. Now that we have a fantastic spot picked out, let's head back to the base, get some supplies, and we can get to work. The first farm I want to build is the sugarcane farm. That's arguably the slowest one, and what we can do is go ahead and knock out that one, and while we're building the other two, the sugarcane farm can actually be producing. Let's go pack up some supply boxes and roll that time lapse. And this is our sugarcane farm. This is a design by Tango Tech. It's his compact lossless sugarcane farm. Didn't take very long to build, and the whole time I've been standing here figuring out what to say, it's been working, and we have about 45 sugarcane already. That was probably about I don't know, 30 minutes of waiting, so it's pretty quick. It's enough for us. The cool thing about this design is it's infinitely expandable, so you can make it as big as you want, but this is all I need for now. Since we've got that all worked out, I think it's time to go ahead and build a gunpowder farm. And for the mob farm, I've just checked all my supplies. I have everything I'm gonna need, so let's just pop it down right here beside the sugarcane farm. That way our AFK spot will load everything. We do need to do a bit of flattening here, but that shouldn't take too long. Let's get to work. You gotta love a good mob farm. This didn't take too long at all. I think about 40 minutes or so. It's only about 4 layers here, but it works great. I do have an AFK platform all the way over there. You can see that little square. And I know it's gonna be a little hard to see, but one thing I did do is line the top of each platform with trapdoors, so the only things that can spawn are spiders and creepers. So that's gonna boost up the gunpowder rates a lot. Flying into here, I mean, we got some cool machines here. It's not looking too great though. I don't know if we'll end up decorating this today, but I think it would be cool to have some docks or something. Just do a simple cliff. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it would be nice to spruce up the place a bit. But before we worry about that too much, we do have another farm to build, and it is the bee farm. And since we're going in a straight line here, I think this is the spot. We're gonna have to do a little bit of flattening, a little bit of tree chopping, but it won't be too bad. Let's get that bee farm built. If you've been to my recent streams, you probably recognize this farm. It's not my design anyways, but this is the same farm we had at the Imperial City. Since I've built it before, it only took about 15 minutes or so. You know, once you build one farm, you kind of remember how to do it the next time. It's not a very big bee farm, but we have a lot of honeycombs already, so it didn't need to be massive. And with that being said, I have caught up with the editing on this video so far, and it's only about 8 minutes. 8 minutes is definitely not a long enough video to release, so we've got to do a little bit more here. I mentioned earlier that it does look rather messy over here, and I agree. I think we should spruce up the place a little bit. I think we're gonna rip out the floor, put some stone down, you know, make it look proper industrial, and maybe build some docks down here. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And we have a bit of a dock here. Now this is something that I threw together pretty quick, so there's not a whole lot of texturing so far. But as I'm letting farms run and I'm just kind of AFKing over here, I think I'll spruce it up even more, just whatever comes to mind. We do so much planning over at the Imperial City, it'll be nice to have sort of a freehand area. And one idea that already came to mind is storage. Originally I was gonna have each storage at each farm, so I'd have to walk around and see things, but we've got these 2 blocks here under this wood that isn't really being used, and I'm not sure how to texture it. So why don't we put a row of chests here, and then we can start routing our items over here to this storage system. I really like how this looks for the farming district. I mean, by no means would I have this kind of thing as a main base. It doesn't look too bad, but I could have definitely spent a lot more time on it. I realize this is very cheaply thrown together, of course, but that's what this place is. It's just a place for me to keep my farms and have it looking somewhat decent in case somebody flies over here. I'll certainly try to come over here every once in a while in future videos just to give you guys an update on what's happening, but for now I think it's time to do a little bit of an AFK session. I've done a little bit of AFK just to make sure the farms actually worked, but now that we have the storage system hooked up, we've got to make sure that everything is flowing correctly and it just works. And look at that. That looks so good down there. Looks a lot better than it did, at least. So I'll AFK here for 30 minutes to an hour. I'll keep track of how long I stay here, and I'll see you guys in just a minute. So we ended up just AFKing about 30 minutes, and I'm a bit surprised. Now, I did not clear out the chest before AFKing, so this is not what we got in 30 minutes. I estimate that we got about 2 stacks or so in that 30 minutes, so about 4 stacks an hour, not bad. As far as gunpowder goes, we're gonna get about 4, maybe 3 stacks of gunpowder every 30 minutes, so about 8 stacks an hour, depending on how many creepers spawn. And then the honeycomb, I'm really not sure. I think it's about maybe 2 stacks an hour, something like that. It could be a little bit faster, but it's not a very big farm. None of these are. I don't need a ton of resources. I was just looking to save some diamonds on rockets since I'm flying around my base all the time. So this is absolutely perfect. I think this is a very well job done. So now I'm gonna get these boxes up and go back to my base, but unfortunately that is all the time I have left for this episode. Guys, I appreciate you sticking around. If you've made it this far, please do hit the sub button. Please do like the video. There's lots and lots of new people joining the channel. Thank you so much. Welcome in, and I will see you guys for the next one. Thanks so much.